Welcome back to Sports Dump, Lewis County's only sports podcast, sponsored by Elam's Home Furnishings and Mattress Gallery, Goebel Septic, and Americool Heating and Cooling. I'm Aaron Van Tile, joined by the full Chronicle sports crew, Dylan Wilhelm, Zach Martin, and Kody Christian.
Mr. Unlimited. Yep.
And guys, it's
Playoffs? Don't talk about playoffs. You kidding me? Playoffs?
Is that everything you guys were hoping for?
Yes.
And more.
Yes.
And more.
We are talking about playoffs today, as soccer and baseball brackets are mostly set. We've got 11 area baseball teams and 3 area soccer teams set for district play. And because we're going to mix things up, apparently, we're starting with soccer, where Centralia clinched a top 3 spot in the Evergreen 2A Conference by beating the buzzer twice in Aberdeen before coming out on top in PKs. Dylan wasn't there, sorry, but he did talk to Noel Vasquez after the game. So what did Noel say?
So they went down 1-0, and then I can't remember who scored the first goal. Somebody scored basically on the last kick of the first half. They went down 2-0 or 2-1 in the second half, and then Simba Osman hit a PK on what was essentially the final play of the second half to tie it and send it to overtime. And then Alejandro Arevalo had 3 saves and PKs. If I remember correctly, it's their first time making district since 2019. And, just talking to Noel, he kind of just echoed what he's been saying for the last couple of weeks. A lot of teams, a lot of coaches will say, oh, we're this close, like we're just a tick off. There's only so many teams that actually, make that adjustment and actually go on a run. And now they've won, 6 of 7, I think. And they're securely they avoid the pigtail with the win. That was kind of the extra step of importance. It didn't just get them in, but it got them out of the pigtail, which Aberdeen is now in. And I just thought it was kind of symbolic of a coach that actually says we are just to tick off. And like I said, a lot of coaches say that, but to actually see that team make that jump.
But he meant it.
He did, yeah, and they proved him right.
They walked in the door with their balloons, baby.
As the 3 out of the EVCO, Centralia avoids the pigtail, and they play R.A. Long in a district quarterfinal. When is that?
Saturday. All quarterfinals are Saturday.
All right. Also, Tumwater and WF West will both be home for their quarterfinals on Saturday. Dylan will be in Chehalis, where the Bearcats welcome Hudson's Bay. And Zach will be at Tumwater District Stadium to see the Thunderbirds host Hawkinson. Winners advance to the winner to state semifinals, while the losers will have to win 2 straight games to qualify for state. Fellas, is there any chance of a Chronicle Cup rematch in the district semifinal? And if that occurs, is there a redistribution of the trophy?
We joked about that the other day.
Yeah, we did talk about that. I don't know.
I vote yes.
Yeah,
I think it's totally fair, especially how the last game ended.
I agree.
Season's not over until it's over.
With how the last game ended with Centralia winning in PKs, I think this would be, if it were to happen, obviously that'd be a hard conversation to have with WF West coach Alan Anderson, but I see no reason why.
There would be so much more on the line than a trip to state. The Chronicle Cup.
As for the chance of it happening, Centralia needs to probably play their best game of the year against R.A. Long. R.A. Long has been they're 14-3 and 13-3 in the GSHL. 2 of their they split with Columbia River, I believe. Or no, sorry, they lost both of them, and Columbia River is the number 1 seed in that league. Based just off the scores, this looks like to be a very high-powered offense. In most of their wins, it's at least 3 or 4 goals. Alejandro Arevalo will have to, and the back line for Centralia is going to have to play nearly perfect to have a chance to win. But with how they've been playing lately, I would not be completely stunned if they pulled off the upset.
And if Arevalo's in shorts, his overall goes up 15 points. They've been joking about that for weeks now. That's kind of around the time that they started playing better. Weather gets a little warmer. Arevalo goes from the pants to the shorts, and all of a sudden he's making 7-8 saves a game 2-3 times. And I kind of put that quote in the last story. That's kind of where Noel left it. He's like, shorts Alejandro is the best Alejandro we're going to get, and we've got him for the rest of the season, rain or shine. So I wouldn't be stunned. And kind of going off that, this is us also assuming that WF West will be able to take care of business.
They should, yeah.
Which we
They
expect.
should. They should be able to take care of business. As long as their defense keeps playing the way that they have for most of the year, they should be in good shape.
All right.
When would this game be?
What game?
The semi?
Yeah, the semi. Is it next week?
Tuesday,
I wanna
probably?
say
Semi would be
Tuesday, I think.
the 7th. Yep, that would be Tuesday. And it would be at the higher seed, so it would be in Chehalis. Yep.
Okay.
Okay.
Gotcha.
This podcast brought to you by Goebel Septic, providing septic service and sanitation for Thurston, Lewis, Mason, Cowlitz, and Grays Harbor counties. Septic pumping inspection and riser installation, commercial septic pumping, grease trap services, and of course, they're most famous for renting you a porta potty and a sink to go with it. If you need one, visit goebelseptic.com, Goebel septic.com, or call 360-736-2167. And now we go to baseball, where coin flips and weather forecasts reign supreme. In the Pacific 2B League, PL Valley finished 5-1 and in a three-way tie with the Ilwaco and Forks. Hell yeah. The Titans ended up losing the three-way coin flip.
Damn.
Real decisive actions out there. Meaning they not only lose the first-round bye, but have to play at Tootle in the second round if they win their first-round matchup again. What?
Yeah.
Is that a loser out at Tootle?
No.
Okay.
It's double elimination. But if they lose to Wakaikam, then they're done.
Yeah, that first round matchup is loser out.
Yeah.
I believe.
I've been on the losing end of one of them three-sided coin flips before. It's not fun, man.
Yeah, that's a tough flip for PL Valley.
It is.
Meanwhile, Adna finished 16-2, ended up calling the right side of the coin. Did they call heads? Do we know? Tails never
We
fails?
don't know, but I
You tell me who flipped it.
I can report that there was consideration of opting to take the 2, even though they won the coin flip, but they didn't.
All right.
I don't know how serious those considerations were, but I did
there
hear
a big-
someone say at some point, "What do you mean they want the 2?" Like,
What difference would it make, though?
just second round matchup.
Uh,
I don't know. They ended up taking the 1 though, so I don't know.
nice.
They called the right side of the coin. They got the top seed over Tootle Lake. Maybe they thought if they took the 2, they'd wind up with Peel Valley potentially. But I don't know. Like, Adna's fine.
I'm not
I don't think
sure.
there should be
Yeah.
all that.
I don't
work.
know if it was serious consideration, but I did hear that, and I just had to let out a laugh. 'Cause-
Yeah.
yeah.
All right, Dylan and Zach have the brackets and more info about times and locations, including about how one game won't even be in the state of Washington. I saw that. They're playing in Astoria.
Yep. Toledo, Raymond South Bend.
Turf field, baby.
On Saturday night in Astoria. Winner of that plays Ilwaco at 7:30 in the quarterfinal.
Well, that'll be a nice little trip across the bridge for them.
And most, if not one game, all the rest of the first round games and quarterfinals, except for one, will be done before that first round matchup takes place.
All right,
Because
sick.
they moved the Friday games up. They were supposed to be at 1 and 4. Now they're going to be at 10 and 12:30.
And then the only
On
one that
Friday
is
morning.
not at that time is in Port Angeles. Rainier and Napavine will play at noon, and then winner of that will play Forks at 2:30.
in Port. Oh, they got to go play Forks in Port.
And
Jesus Christ. They're
They got to play each other in Port Angeles first.
Yeah, they have to- yeah.
And then the winner gets Forks.
yeah,
so the District 4 playoff games are everywhere from Astoria to Port Angeles. That's awesome.
And Adna and Tootle.
All right, outside of Tootle and Adna, which team has the best chance of making a deep run? And what would you guys put the odds out on a Tootle-Adna matchup in the district finals?
I'd be willing to say that's a pretty good bet.
yeah, that's
Okay.
what I. As for a team that can make a deep run, we'll see how Brian Demarest, head coach of Demarest, excuse me, head coach for Napavine. We'll see what he does to manipulate the pitch count for Ashton, because if Ashton Demarest is on the mound, Napavine has a chance to win every game they play, and that is even including against Adna. But if Demarest is in trouble, I think Napavine is in trouble because they have not been able to find a consistent number 2 pitcher behind Ashton to give them quality innings. So I put Napavine with an asterisk of how Demarest handles Ashton's pitch count.
How strong
right.
is the Pacific League this year? Anyone know?
Looking at me for
I mean, I know Ilwaco
no
beat
idea.
Adna 10-0 at like the first week of the season. But I don't know
Really?
if that was that
That's
happened.
before the Pirates got hot, though.
I don't know. I don't know if that was a
Yeah.
fraudulent win or what.
I wouldn't.
fraudulent win.
Maybe Ilwaco can make a run. Who knows?
They play in Astoria. Yeah, the fields are a different size down
Oh,
there.
Ilwaco
Are they?
finished 14-3, and then obviously 5-1 with PWV and Forks in the.
I think all baseball fields are different sizes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do like PWV too. As a team, their pitching staff, their ERA is 1.66, which will play in most ballparks. Obviously, they don't have to go to Astoria, so I don't know how they'll play there. But the thing is, kind of what we mentioned, they'll run into Tootle. If they beat what Kai comes to now, you have to go against either Connor Cox or Zach Swanson.
Neither
That's a
one
big
is
ask.
fun day at the
That's a
plate.
big ask.
Yeah,
Especially,
Sorry, go ahead.
well, just talking to, I didn't talk to a scout, but going to the Tootle Adna game and just talking to other people who were, obviously there's 20 scouts behind home plate where Zach Swanson is. And one of the parents was like, yeah, something about Zach, like, again, you could say this about a lot of people. They're like, oh, well, he gets better as the season goes on and he really like hones in, a march on the road in Napavine and whatever district tournament game, 95 painted on the corners. From what I've heard, he actually is one of those guys that can actually do that. And obviously his draft projection speaks to that.
Well,
so
he definitely can do that. It's
Yeah.
just the fact of if he can stay honed in like you're talking about.
Yeah, if he loses any bit of control of the strike zone, PWV can beat Tootle.
Yeah, that's exactly how Adna got to him in the state semis last year. Was he just couldn't hit the strike zone very well towards the end of that game.
All right. In the 2As, the EPCO is set, but we await 2 coin flips from the GSHL for the official seeding and bracket. Tumwater is going to host either Mark Morris or Ari Long, and WF West will host the other one on Tuesday.
I made a mistake on that first line. It's not a coin flip. That's kind of what that second note is. It at least depends on records and stuff, but it's worse than
it's
a coin
one of
flip.
those. It's
Quality
criteria.
of win.
Oh, for Christ's sake.
You get
What?
if you beat the one team, you get 8 points, the 2, 7, the 3, 6, and you add all those up, and that's too much math for me. So I'm going to just wait and see what the bracket
that's
says.
kind of, it's better than a coin flip.
Yeah.
I'll do.
I agree.
At least the records matter.
What if their
and-
numbers are the same for that though? Then what?
Yeah, then yeah.
Coin
What
flip.
if it?
Then
I
you go
don't
to,
know.
like,
That's what would happen
I
in
didn't
the
ask
Pacific
that
League,
far.
I bet.
It's like that sponge plankton. I don't know. I didn't think I'd get this far.
Right.
Yeah, they had that for basketball a few years ago, and there was like all these criterias of like wins over league teams with winning records and wins by 10-point differentials
Yeah.
or more. And then the last one was just like athletic directors will draw a number out of a hat. And I was like,
I'm
let's
sure-
jump to that. That's fun.
I'm sure PL Valley would take that over
Over a
a
three-way.
three-way coin flip.
All right. So what else we know is Rochester will play Washougal in the Pigtail game in Camas at 1 o'clock on Saturday. The winner of that will play either Columbia River or Ridgefield on Thursday. To clinch that playoff spot, the Warriors had to sweep Centralia. Zach was at the second game of that series. How did Rochester look?
They look good. Mason Ubius pitched really well. Centralia almost had a chance to win that game. Had bases loaded in the bottom of the 7th, and with 2 outs and grounder to third, and Henry Grammelsbacher just tagged the runner out, running from second to third, and that ended the game. But Rochester played well. I think they'll be a tough out. If Grammelsbacher's on the mound, they're going to have a shot to win. Now, Ubius and Tate Kornstrom and Tyler Houston, they're going to need to pitch exceptionally well if they were to win the Pigtail when getting into the quarters. But they have the capability. So we'll see. I like Rochester. I think they could maybe be a surprise team that can do something.
Whole team of all name lineup there out of Rochester. Bunch of great names on that team.
Grammelsbacher.
Grammelsbacher, yeah, Cornstorm.
Grammelsbacher is such a cool name. It's the rookie of the year name, pretty much. Rowan Gardner.
Yeah.
All right. And in the one, how confident are you guys that it's just going to be WFS Tumwater again?
Pretty.
8 or 9.
Yeah.
If
Hey.
it's scale 1 to 10.
Hey,
Nothing's
don't
a
sleep on
10 in high school
Centralia.
sports, but
Dylan's got a fun fact about Tumwater when it comes to the district.
it kind of reminds me of the Florida Marlins a little bit. are back-to-back state champions, but they haven't won a district title since 2016, according to the spreadsheet that Josh put together.
Yeah.
Josh's spreadsheet would never lie.
I trust Josh's spreadsheet.
For real.
Okay. And in the 1Bs, the 4-team bracket is set. The games will start tomorrow and wrap up on May 22nd.
I have no idea what goes on in the 1Bs.
That's
It's a
I
14.
asked-
Hang on. It's a 14 bracket.
I
It
asked
lasts a
one of their
month.
coaches
no, that's like
what
their
the
basketball bracket. That was like
I go, hey, this is the Columbia Valley League, right? Because it kind of involves some Coastal League teams. And he goes, I don't know what they call it, but we're in the same league. I was like, okay. It's
The 1B is a whole. It's a whole nother world.
an experiment.
yeah. Oakville is the 4. They'll head west to take on top-seeded Nacelle, and number 2 Mossjock will host number 3 Lake Quinault. These matchups are both loser-out semifinals, and the winners will meet in a winner-to-state championship game at Toledo on Thursday. Loser of the title game will play winner-to-state glue game against. I hate those games against the 4th-place team from the District 1-2-3 tournament. But at least there's no coin flips. Will we see Mossjock Nacelle for the 4th year in a row? And if we do, what are the odds the Vikings pull the upset for the 2nd straight year? Well, if they upset them last year, is it really an upset this year?
That's true. I'd still give I think it's going to take a big day from assuming Easton Cobb will be ready pitch count wise to go on the mound.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I bet they'll try to save him
I
against Lake Quinault.
I would think.
But the defense will have to pick him up too. We've kind of seen it. We've seen it in spurts, right, throughout the year where when the defense is picking up Cobb behind him, it's 5-6 shutout innings. And when it's not, all of a sudden you're losing games, allowing 6, 8, 10 runs, and 2 of them are earned, if that.
Hence the game yesterday when Mossy played Nacelle, and it was 10-0 in 5 or 6 innings, and Mossy Rock's defense had 4 errors, and Cobb was on the mound.
Yep.
And so only one of the runs he gave up was earned. So, yeah, it'll come down to Mossy Rock's defense.
Okay, moving to the 1As. Tenino beat Elma on senior night. They're the number 2 seed, the Evergreen. Zach was there as the Evergreen 2. Well, you know what? Tell us about the game first.
It was a really good game. All 3 matchups between Tenino and Elmo, final score was 3-2, which I find funny, and that's why baseball's great. Tenino scored 2 in the bottom of the 7th. Cody Strawn, one of the 3 seniors, Preston Snyder, and then Kellen Knox, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. 3 seniors. Strawn ended up with the walk-off sac fly. Jack Burkhart pitched well, gave him a shot. Eventually, they started to have better approaches to the plate and came up with the timely hits when they needed to. So it was a very good game, and Tenino is definitely, they can make some noise.
All right, this podcast brought to you by Elam's Home Furnishings and Sleep Center. Locally owned, family owned, here to stay. Visit elamshf.com. And if you go to their site right now, the opening banner is a lovely couple together in a beautiful, what I assume is an extremely comfortable bed.
I can tell that thing's comfy from looking at it, man. Come on.
Yeah, look at that. They look happy.
Yeah.
Could be you, Cody.
I wish.
On a Serta High Comfort Eco mattress, paired with a selectable adjustable base. They got a Memorial Day sale coming up. Looks awesome. Check out Elam's Home Furnishings and Mattress Gallery, 1530 South Gold Street in Centralia, or elamshf.com. Now we're going to softball. There's still a week left before the playoff brackets are set, but things are starting to fall into place. At the top of the C2BL, Adna beat Onalaska 10-0 on Wednesday to add to its lead atop the standings. Dylan, how did Adna look?
Small ball, small
Really?
ball, small ball, and then a little more small ball. I think they bunted like 7 or 8 times. I
Interesting.
mean, they just took advantage of the way that the Ani defense was kind of crashing on bunts. So say there's a runner on first, show bunt, pull back, second base completely open. Nobody's covered second. They just did that multiple times, time and time again. I think they only had 3 or 4 hits to the outfield. Each one was crushed because it's still Adna, and they can still do that when they need to. But yeah, they just kind of death by 1,000 paper cuts
right.
in that game specifically. Obviously, they could still swing it. There's no Von Moose or Brooklyn Loose, but they still got the bats to do it. And Ava Sims looked spectacular in the circle. They're still the team to beat.
All right, Ani and Toledo are tied for second at 5-2, but Toledo has the head-to-head tiebreaker there. Napavine, Kalama, Rainier, and Tudor Lake are all bunched together at 4-7, and Winlock is a game and a half out of the playoff spot in 8th place. Meanwhile, in the 2As, Tumwater has a slim lead over WF West atop the EVCO standings. Not table. This isn't.
Whoops.
Sorry, Governor.
Boo.
If the T-Birds beat Centralia and Black Hills next week, they'll clinch the league title as they have the tiebreaker over WF West due to their win in a third non-league matchup that it could be league maybe if they want it to be, if they need it to be.
If it's a tiebreaker.
Yeah. Rochester and Centralia are tied for the pigtail spot. They'll play their second matchup on Wednesday, the final day of the league season. Who do you think is going to wind up in fourth? Is Aberdeen in third?
Yes, Aberdeen's in third.
Defending league champion Aberdeen
Correct.
is in third.
2 games back of WF West and Tumwater.
You're just hoping this district tournament goes a little smoother than last year's?
Last year's district tournament was fun.
It was fun. Well, neither one of you guys were here.
Nope.
But
Fill us in.
yeah, I could. Well, there was just like, there was so many, I think the top 5 teams all had pretty much the same record going into it, and they didn't really know what was happening. And then at one point, Rochester lost a home game that I think Josh was at, and like all the girls were crying and stuff because they thought their season was over, but they actually were playing in a pigtail game like the next day, and it was a pigtail to get into the pigtail to get into the tournament, and they ended up losing again anyways. But like still, it was
Ball don't lie.
It was kind of madness. Yeah, they were like the ADs were like calling each other and like trying to talk to Alec and just trying to figure out what was going on, and like none of them knew what was happening.
It was awesome.
It was a shit show. Yeah.
Sounds
And then
like we
they-
needed like an 8-team coin flip tournament.
And then I feel like there's a bunch of upsets once they got to the tournament too.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
know.
because WF West lost in a loser out game, and so did Tumwater.
And then Centralia, I want to say,
Lost in the district title.
yeah, they made it to the title game, which they weren't supposed to be.
Centralia and
They were one
Aberdeen
of
in the
lowest
district
seeds.
finals. Who was it?
Yeah.
No, Richfield. I looked at the bracket last year. I'm pretty sure it was Richfield.
Was it? Centralia made a pretty deep run when they
Yeah,
and
they made it
I
to
think they
state.
had to win 2 pigtail games to get in, and they ended up making state. That was pretty crazy.
Yeah, it was wild. It was fun.
And Aberdeen just had a phenomenal pitcher. I don't know if she's still there or not.
Lily
Yeah.
Camp,
Yep.
she's still there.
And they have a second one too.
And Annika Hollingsworth,
Yeah.
who was at Acosta last year, is at Aberdeen this year. So they've got 2 D1
They're both
pitchers.
D1, yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
interesting.
Hollingsworth is Cal Baptist. Camp is,
Lopes up, GCU.
Grand Canyon.
Anyway,
You didn't
Anyways,
even go there,
between-
dude. Shut up.
Between Centralia and Rochester. Shout out Bryce Drew, who definitely listens to this pod. It just kind of sucks that those are the 2 teams that are going to be kind of going at it. We look at a lot of these standings, league standings, and there's always a team or 2 at the end where it's like, all right, yeah, you get a playoff spot, but like it's filler, you know? But these are 2 really good teams, and I think I'll give the edge. I think right now Centralia's playing a little better. Lauren Wasson just hit a couple homers the other day.
Who's Centralia up against again?
Today,
Rochester
Whoever they're playing. Oh, okay.
Rochester.
Is this the game
for,
we're talking
for the
about?
fourth spot.
Yeah, for the
Okay.
4th spot on Wednesday. And I think I'll lean Centralia, which super hot take. But yeah, it's just kind of tough that one of these teams is going to miss out on the playoffs entirely because it's 2 very talented teams that would definitely make noise come district.
Rochester plays WF West tomorrow. How they play in that game will be a determining factor on how much of a shot I give them against Centralia. Centralia always seems to play their best around this time of year. It was that way last year.
Yep.
It could be the way this year, but they've got to play. They've got to play good defense. They were very sloppy against Tumwater that they ended up losing that game. So they've got to play. They've got to play better defense.
And
But-
Rochester almost beat WF West the first time the 2 teams played. WF West got 3 in the 7th. And also, I guess we could touch quickly on the Swamp Cup that lasted approximately 3.5 hours. What was it last week? Kind of in the rain. WF West went up like 14-4 on Centralia. Centralia rattles off like 7 in a row. The final score was like 16-13 WF West. It was just
Banger softball game.
yeah, it was wild and it was wet and it was miserable, but it was awesome to watch.
Yeah. I think if I remember right, I don't know if this was last year or 2 years ago, but the 2B district championship game was like a lot really similar to that. I want to say last year.
Adna Peel Valley.
Was Adna
It was
PWV.
2 years ago.
Was it 2 years ago?
Yeah, I covered
Well,
that
I know
one.
it's been Adna PWV
I
playing
mean,
for it for
more
like the
often
last
than
6
not, yeah.
years. Yeah, but one of them I went and watched. I remember it was kind of like that.
That was the one where like the first 5 Adna players up hit home runs.
Yeah. That was
It
the
was
game.
absurd. And they weren't hitting off like a bad pitcher. It was
No, she was really good.
Matlock? Not Matlock. I can't remember her name. She was Peel Valley's great pitch. And then Peel Valley beat him in the state finals.
Yeah.
And that girl pitches for St. Martin's or something.
Yeah,
now.
it was the first 5 up to bat, and it was all
it was
within the
most
first 2
insane
pitches.
softball game I've ever seen.
Yeah. Sorry, I just had to bring that up for good.
That was a wild
measure.
game. That was a lot of fun.
It was. It was cool.
All right. What else do we got? Oh, 1B softball.
Oh, yeah, I put 1A, but it's 1B. If you liked the 1B baseball bracket,
How many teams we got?
4.
it's a 4.
Four.
But
Even number.
all 4 teams in the league make the district tournament because there's only 4 teams. Yeah, sure.
Playoffs?
All right. So Monsterhawks looking for their second straight district championship, and they will beat whoever.
And if
You
they
get it?
beat Nacelle tonight, they'll win whatever the hell that league's called.
Yeah, the CBL or Columbia
I
Basin
don't know.
League, you know.
The Bush
Something. It's the something.
the
Fantastic
East India
Four,
Trading
I don't
Company
know.
League.
League. The Big 4.
All right, this podcast brought to you by Americool Heating and
Small
Cooling. Your comfort is their business. They provide full-service HVAC installation services and repair with a 100% satisfaction guarantee on everything they do. You can call their 24/7 emergency service line at 360-996-5806 or visit them online at west.americoolonline.com to request service or get an estimate.
It's crazy how much I see Americool around now.
They're all over. Americool
never really
and
used
Goebel
to-
You
Septic.
tend to
Yeah.
see what you're looking for.
Yeah, really. Like now that we're sponsored by them, like now that we talk about it on the pod all the time, it's like I see them everywhere I go.
You're just thinking Americool.
feel
It's
like
like,
that's not
damn, I didn't even
recent.
realize Americool is like that. They're just everywhere.
Yeah.
You were not familiar with their game.
I wasn't familiar with their game.
All right, tennis. WF West went perfect in the EVCO under first-year head coach Megan Wellender with a 4-2 win over Centralia on Wednesday. Zach?
Yeah.
Give us the elevator pitch on tennis.
That was a they've been very good this year, obviously 10-0.
Did you actually go to that, or did you just go watch Challengers?
No, I actually went there.
Okay.
And
He was there, I can confirm.
yeah, and Cody was also there taking excellent photos.
He stayed the whole time.
I did.
He looks kind of bored sometimes.
Number one singles was the best match of the day. Maya Lackey for Centralia against Emma Hamilton for WF West. 3 sets. First set was a tiebreaker that Hamilton won, and then Lackey won the last 2, 6-2, 6-1. Very good number one singles. Obviously very emotional for WF West. Jack State, 4 decades coaching the girls, 5 decades for the boys, passing away in January, and so Megan, who is a WF West grad, just graduated college as well, kind of steps in and takes over, and the girls have clearly bought in. They're very good in doubles. All 3 doubles teams have been outstanding. Hamilton, that was her first loss of the year, from what Megan told me, at number 1 singles, and then their number 2 singles, Vivia Ibanez, didn't play yesterday. She'll be back for sub-districts. And then Alana Leal, very solid number 3 singles. So, yeah, district tournament next week, or sub-district next week at Black Hills and Tumwater starting on Monday, weather permitting.
All right. And you went to the Activators meet last week, too?
2 weeks ago. And then last week I went to the Shelton Invite, which apparently 2 things. One, it's the longest running track meet in the state of Washington, 64 years, and every single event and race has a sponsor with it, which I've never ever seen before.
That's a lot of sponsors.
Activators, WF West swept team titles. They looked very good. Carmen Williams looked good in the discus for Black Hills. Dane Iverson, new PR, 54-1 in the shot for Tumwater. Cool story with that kid. 3 separate surgeries in 3 different parts of his body. Didn't know if he was going to do track this year, and unleashed a lifetime best by over 2.5 feet. They were good in the sprints. Same with the girls. Ava Jones, 4 wins. She'll be a favorite at state in a couple weeks in Tacoma. Tumwater girls going for 3 straight team state championships. So that was good to see at Shelton. WF West, Tumwater, Rainier, 3 of the best teams in the area this year for both boys and girls. This week, most of the 2As are going to be at Shaner Invite in Tumwater, and then most of the 2Bs are going to be at the Sputter Invite in Ridgefield. And then next week is League. and then following week is districts. So the important track meets are quickly on the horizon.
All right. Anything else you guys want to mention before we get out of here?
Every track meet is important.
That's just definitively not true.
Just one more quick note on the WF West tennis team. Hamilton and Ibanez have kind of been flip-flopping at 1 and 2 all year. So if both of them go deep in districts and make it state, I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah.
All right. We're going to wrap it up there. We will be back next week, hopefully, to talk about whatever is going on with the playoffs.